First and foremost, thank you so much, Stefan, and the team from Eurodis and everyone else for allowing us to share the session today with everyone. And I think it's an important piece to really discuss where we're at, how do we want to progress, and what are some of the things that we want to see. But instead of going down the route of very sort of management strategy like presentation, I wanted to start with a little bit of a humble storytelling, if I may, to pique your brains a little bit, whether or not it's early time of day for you or whether it's at night. I think, it's a little storytelling would never hurt. So first and foremost, I wanted to ask all of you here, when you think of the sky at night, right? When you think of the night sky, what comes to mind? Now, the reality of it is, in the life that we have for rare diseases, very often it's an uncharted territory. It's almost like, welcome to Wonderland. Here's a map, and there's nothing on the map. It's absolutely empty. And it's up to us to figure out how we're going to be drawing this picture, this adventure that we are going to be having together. So I want to invite all of you to go onto the chat and type for me, when you think of the night sky, what's one or two or three words that comes to mind when you see the sky at night? So let's type and see what we get. So light pollution, I love that. I'm going to talk about that. Light pollution, infinity, the stars, air pollution, immense, darkness. Okay, so do you notice Van Gogh? I like that. Van Gogh. I got to learn Starry, Starry Night. Am I going to burst into song now? Infinity with a bit of fear, feeling small. I love this. I'm going to sit down and listen to everybody talk. Now, the reality of it is, the journey that we have for rare disease is very much like that. I'm going to use your words that you've just given me to tell you a little bit of a story. And I hope you give me a little bit of an indulgence. Now, when you look at the night sky, you see if there isn't light pollution, and that's a very important point. Thank you for that. And very often, the light pollution is akin to the noise and the things that we see daily that often distracts us from the things that we have to solve. Sometimes there might be pushing or pulling factors within our governments or within the ecosystems that we're in that makes our issues seem small. And the view and the expanse that we're in seems ever eternal, so much to discover. The expanse not only makes us feel small, but also makes us feel fearful. Sometimes they'll tell us, shoot for the moon, and if you don't land at the moon, at least you'll land among the stars. How many of you have heard that? Actually, that's factually inaccurate. It's impossible to go to the moon, and if you miss the moon, you land in the stars, because the stars is infinitely further than the moon. So there's no way you're going to go to the moon and then miss the moon and go to the stars, right? The reality of it is not going to happen. So Trudy, you said the moon. And the reality of it is, we're often told, go for that moonshot. Think of that big thing. Shoot for the moon. If you miss the moon, you'll get to the stars. It's never going to happen for rare diseases because there's no such thing as going to the moon and then landing in the stars. You can't get closer and then you get further, right? But the reality of it is, with all that is happening, when we think about the uncharted territories that we have, and we think about all the things that are scary and hopeful and interesting about the rare disease space, to an uninformed mind or to people before they get to know the rare disease space, it just looks like pretty flickering lights in the sky. All of us equally shining as bright as we can, advocates who are advocating for different diseases, 7,000 of us, at least 7,000 different stars talking about 7,000 different issues, but all flickering at different speed, different light years away from each other, distances that might not always connect. But when we come together, we're no longer just random balls of gas that are filling up the sky. We actually create a map. And that's what we're trying to get at. The whole entire conversation today, and thank you, Stan, for inviting us, is creating that new narrative, creating and turning individual actors, individual stars that shine in that night sky, and turning it into a brilliant, amazing constellation that becomes a map, not for us, but a legacy that will continue to live on many years after we're gone.
So in everything that we do, we look at using the ACE strategy to be the anchor, not only in working with the healthcare practitioners or the professionals, but also all across the different stakeholder chain, be it policymakers or other patient groups, or even body corporates, right? I won't talk about advocacy much because essentially we all know that. It talks about how do we ensure that those who have never heard of rare diseases before understand us a little bit more, or at least have their radars up and aligned whenever they see a patient or a group that might need an extra care or extra check. So this is not just related to newborn screening. This goes all across the patient journey, all the way up to palliative care, because as we know, there are a lot of rare diseases that actually only manifest in adulthood or in adolescence. And so we need doctors who are aware or at least curious enough to want to have their patients go and have checkups well beyond the time when they're past their childhood. In terms of collaboration, I'll give you a little bit of an example in a bit on how we work together with HCPs, not just for those who are existing within the system, but also those that are coming into the world of medicine, whether or not as an allied health professional or as a professional within the system that's already there. And the reality of it is when we talk about enablement, we're not only talking about continuous education for doctors and healthcare practitioners, we're also talking about how do we build that ecosystem that supports the healthcare practitioner and professionals so that they can then grow in the space that they want to. So I'm just going to show you very briefly how this looks like. Oh, I've gone backwards. Okay. In Malaysia, the landscape for rare disease has got multiple points, and this is common for many countries. Some people go through the government hospitals. Some people go through the teaching hospitals or the university hospitals, as we call it. Many go through private healthcare facilities. And they're also what we call the army hospitals, that we don't have that many people logging in for rare diseases through the army hospitals, but they are there in the system. Now, while we do that, different people would have received their diagnosis in many different ways. Obviously, private hospitals might have the budgetary ability to be able to do more for their patients. But the majority of our patients in Malaysia actually go through either the teaching hospitals or the Ministry of Health hospitals. And these hospitals are set up across the country. And many of them, we've got at least 5 who are considered as centers of excellence for rare diseases. They can be genetic centers. They can be those focusing specifically for young onset type of diseases. And then there are also university hospitals that look at adult type rare diseases that are across the country. When we talk about engaging healthcare professionals within the system, I don't want to talk about it in too much detail, but Stefan had mentioned it earlier about how we work together with doctors in terms of continuing education for doctors who are already in the space and working together to do things like awareness raising or campaigns among doctors. We also work together with the pharmacy or the Pharmacist Association in Malaysia and the Genetic Counseling Society of Malaysia to look at allied healthcare professionals that also need a little bit of an understanding of what is rare disease and how we can work together to build that ecosystem. Third is when we talk about nurturing future change makers and the importance of creating a healthy pipeline. Here, I'm happy to share that MRDS has got several tie-ins with multiple universities in the country, be it in advancing research on health economics. So there will be doctors who are also researchers. So we do things on health economics, the burden of care. We look at helping doctors share information and creating one work that we're doing with HUKM looks at how do doctors in the allied health line come together to look at information that can be shared to ensure that patients get the integrated care that they need in a faster way. We're also working with 2 universities. One is a program that's currently ongoing that's engaging future doctors and nurses and healthcare practitioners that are interested to go into the medical field to know what rare disease is all about, or at least have some touch points with patients who are able to then explain to them what are rare diseases, what does it look like, what does it mean to live with rare diseases? Because one of the key things that we want to push for is also more HCPs with the right amount of empathy to be able to engage with patients when they do meet someone with potentially a rare disease. The next is a group that we're working on where the students of the universities are not students who are going to be specializing in the medical or health field. So we're working together with students from international relations, international business, engineering, social media, because we know that creating that narrative, creating that ecosystem that supports HCPs and rare disease patient groups require all of these other stakeholder groups that are looking at it from the policy perspective, from the social media advocacy perspective, from creating that kind of noise that we need to be able to push for policymakers to drive change. So one project that we're currently having with Taylor's University is where a group of students from one cohort from 10 different countries are doing a project on policy comparison analysis of different rare diseases of different countries of their choice. And then they come up with a campaign that looks like tackling stigma for people living with rare disease. It can either be from a health perspective, or it can be from a health economics perspective, or it can be purely from a campaign and narrative perspective. Now, this actually tries to engage adolescents and people who are of a much younger crowd, knowing that future HCPs are from a generation that's very different from ours today. So the language, the way we engage, the module and the modus operandi that we engage, and the channels that we use will also be different. Finally, of course, the more traditional way of doing things is cross-sector collaboration to amplify efforts. So the Malaysian Rare Disorder Society is also now part of the All Parliamentary Action Party group on child rights, where we collaborate together with all other child rights groups across the country to raise issues on child rights at the parliamentary level. And here we are under the right to health and the right to inclusivity in society. So we champion that. We also work together with other organizations like the Genetic Counseling Society of Malaysia, the Pharmacist Society of Malaysia, doctor coalitions, mental health coalitions, and all these are sometimes health professional groups. And in other ways, it's allied health professional groups that we work together. Now, I want to give you a very quick example of how this looks like. So today I'm talking to you. Tomorrow, there's actually an event that's happening at HUKM. On the left-hand side is a campaign. And Stan, I'm happy to share that your push for World Rare Disease Day 2025, we're not even done with 2024 yet, and we're going into 2025. So this started with a discussion that we had with Professor Nurlina, who is a neurologist who is also championing spinocerebellar ataxia in HUKM, one of the teaching hospitals in Malaysia. And she told me, Nadiah, look, I can't do World Rare Disease Day in February. We're really swamped, but I want to do something in November. And I told her, like, Prof, please, by all means, go ahead, because everyone here knows every day is Rare Disease Day. You can have Rare Disease Day any day you want, right? The idea is to create an awareness. So we're really happy to share that what started last year as a 1-year-long campaign has not ended and has now blended very nicely to 2025. We will be having the Deputy Minister of Health tomorrow with us, and we will be talking about engaging health professionals, exactly this topic today, and how do we look at enabling the patient groups and developing a better ecosystem in Malaysia. We will also be having an FB Live session tomorrow for as many people as possible who would like to join. So if you're interested to join the session, let me know and I'll give you the link. On the right-hand session, and this I think is worth mentioning, very often that doctor, that professional, that specialist that we look to is that one person in our life that we look to for all kind of advice. But at the same time, for them, we might be patient number 3,764. There's so many of us and there's so little of them. In Malaysia, there's 14 geneticists for a population of 34.2 million, which to me never makes sense. So it's important for us to not only engage, but also help to validate and recognize the efforts of our HCPs. Because at the end of the day, burnout for them is real and they are human too. So back to the story of the founder, the lady who's holding the little trophy there is the founder of MRDS, of which stands why I am able to speak to you today. Her name is Dato' Hatijah. And through her nomination, our medical advisor, Professor Tong Mo Keong, who has dedicated his life to serving the rare disease community, won the Star Golden Hearts Award just yesterday, Stan. So this is a story that happened yesterday and a story that will happen tomorrow. So what I'm trying to tell you is the story of creating an ecosystem and helping your HCPs thrive is not only about the doctors helping you, it's about how you can help your doctors be the best versions of people who are going to help you in future. So Prof. Tong has dedicated his life to rare diseases, and we're immensely not only admiring his work, but also grateful for the work that he's done, not only in Malaysia, but also in other countries. And for those of you coming for Apardo in Philippines, you can watch him too. So I just want to end very briefly with this. Alone, we might be just dots and balls of gas floating in the sky. but together we make a constellation, a group of events. Every single picture that you see here is a mixture, an event that was a grouping of healthcare professionals, allied health professionals. You see the Minister of Health right at the bottom of the picture there. You see Prof. Tong in so many of the pictures here. The big picture with all the blue doctors with the hands, those are your health professionals. The ones in the middle are actually your patient advocates. You see, well, it's going to be hard for me to point out to you, but there are parliamentarians in these photos, there are youths in these photos, there are parents in these photos, there are doctors and researchers in these photos, there's farmers in these photos. At the end of the day, all sending the same message. Alone, we are just dots in the sky. Together, we create a map that if not for us, for others, we will light the way long after we're gone. Because at the end of the day, the mission is the same, so that no one else is left behind.